Let's go.
Good morning, Starcraft fans, and welcome back to the Gfinity Starcraft Spring Masters 2. We had 16 of the best players in the world. We've whittled it down to 8, competing for that trophy there. $5,000 in prize money, 300 WCS ranking points as well. I'm Richard Lucia, host for this event, and joining me in the analysis room is the world's oldest Starcraft player. It's Ben, the Muslim Button, and next to him, we've got Harston. How are you doing, guys?
I knew you were going to say something, but I forgot that you remembered about that yesterday. Yeah. I'm doing great, I'm doing great.
For a man who's aging, right?
For a man that's aging backward, yeah.
What about you?
Well, I woke up really early this morning to see a fight that didn't really deliver. So went back to sleep, woke up again, and hopefully this time waking up will deliver into something good. Well,
I'll tell you what, absolutely. No spoilers if you didn't stay up to watch it like some of us did. But yeah, we're hoping that our tournament delivers more than the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, put it that way. I think we've got a good chance of that happening though. Like I say, we've now got 8 of the best players in the world left in the tournament. The bracket is absolutely stacked. Here it is for you guys, you can see. Just so many big names in there. Talk us through it, man.
Yeah, I mean, quite a few matches right in the quarterfinals of potential finals of any tournament of any caliber, you know. Like sOs Hydra, that's one that leaps out at me incredibly. Bunny, a returning champion against True. Like, that could have been a potential Hyun against Bunny again, but, you know, True edged him out there. And, yeah, people like Jadong as well making a comeback here. It's really nice to see.
Well, yeah, and look, guys, we're absolutely going to bring you that sOs Hydra game first. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to show you a little featurette. We've recorded some sort of mini documentaries, if you like, so you can get to know the players here a little bit better. We're going to show you one about Hydra, Harston's main man, right now.
My name is Dong Won Shin. I live in San Francisco and I play for Loot Gaming. I'm not intimidated of any player today. In this tournament, I have a lot of confidence because I've been playing a lot of games and practicing. After finishing second place, Gfinity and WCS, first place was really close, I think, at both tournaments. So yeah, I really want to win this tournament.
So there you go, that's one of the guys we're going to be showing you a little bit later. And what we'll do is we'll bring you a complete schedule rundown on your screens now so you can see. It was very difficult for us to select these games. We had a long talk about what was the best that we should bring you, but you can see we've plumped for sOs versus Hydra, followed by Bunny versus True. But don't despair if you're a fan of Jadong or Solar, for example. You can watch our Challenger Stage games courtesy of our partners at Base Trade TV. That's twitch.tv/BaseTradeTV. And on top of that, because we've thought of everything, if you want to watch a stream in your mother tongue rather than English, we've got a bunch of alternative language streams available to you. Thanks to all of our partners for providing that service. Now, guys, I know you're hyped, all right? I know you're hyped, but we're going to have to take another break because it's only fair if we're going to highlight Hydra, we need to show sOs as well, don't we? So we have recorded a featurette on him as well for you guys at home, which we're going to run for you now.
이름은 김유진이고요. 한국에 살고 있고 진에어 그린믹스에서 활동하고 있어요. 제가 스타1 아마추어 때 활동하던 아이디가 소울 오브 스카이였는데 소울에서 S 따고 오브에서 O 따고 스카이에서 S 따서 sOs 계속 쓰게 됐어요. 아직은 군단의 심장 집중하고 있어서 해보진 않았어. 제가 실력만 계속 유지된다면 2, 3, 4년은 충분히 할 수 있지 않을까 생각하고 있어요. 목표는 당연히 우승이고요. 아직은 잘 모르겠는데 게임 하면서 적응하다 보면 자신감 붙어서 잘할 수 있을 것 같아. 그때는 이제 정상을 처음 찍어봤었잖아요. 그래서 모든 게 다 새로웠고 지금은 높은 곳에 몇 번 올라가 봤으니까 조금 나태해진 건 있는 것 같아요.
So there you go, SOS, an absolute monster. I know he's your pick for the tournament overall, a true champion then.
Really is. I remember when BlizzCon happened last year, you saw every big name in the tournament. There was like innovations and such, and SOS kind of went a little bit under the radar. I felt like people knew he was one of the best Protosses, along with SKT Rain at the time. But yeah, he just flew to the final and dominated it. And then going to IEMs, where it's $100,000 or nothing, and the amount of balls that he has in his play, like he's a true thinker, you know, like he thinks about the game and he does things that a lot of players don't do. Not only does he play Protoss, but he plays his opponent and shows him one thing and then presents him another. It's really clean how he plays.
Yeah. Well, just to cut you off, completely. No thoughts from you. You're bigging up Hydra. You're in Hydra's corner. That's how it works. No, but we have got somebody as well who has balls. 2 people, in fact. We've got our interviewer, James Banks, talking to Paul Shalloner, who's the man, Red Eye, who's been pulling the strings behind the scenes. How are you doing, boys?
Hello, Richard. Yes, we're here with Red Eye and a man that is usually on the other side of the coin here. You can't have this anymore, Red Eye. This is now our work to do, but you are behind the scenes. How are you finding it not being on the camera so much now?
Different. Yeah, it's very different. I have a newfound healthy respect for my colleagues at ESL that did all the background work and allowed me to look so good as a host in the past, and yeah, much healthier respect for the job that they do. It's silent but really important stuff. But yeah, we've been working really hard last 4 weeks, and I'm really pleased with the work that the guys have put in, and the productions that we've been doing have been improving every time. So yeah, it's been good.
So kind of what's your plan here at Gfinity now you're in charge? We've obviously seen all the new talent come in, yourself, we've got Robert from Robert Olin even, and like this Gfinity is going onwards and upwards, and you guys are coming to make massive changes. What's the game plan now?
Well, I mean, you say massive changes. We're not really trying to, reinvent the wheel. The models are out there. They're being done really well by people like ESL and DreamHack and MLG, and we want to be considered in the same space. And I don't think we maybe are in some ways yet, but that's the ultimate goal. We want to be a world-class operation for both tournaments and production. And until we get there, I'm just going to carry on working.
Keep pushing hard like you always do. So now let's get straight to it. It's the Starcraft. We're here at the finals, basically. It's the last day. Who do you think is going to win it?
Well, there's only one Euro left, and I've got a bunny on the shirt, so...
Yes!
So it's got to be bunny, right?
Yes!
Has to be.
The foreigner hope. That's it from Paul. The man is now behind the scenes. He's helping us with all of this, and yeah, he's going to be a little bit less off camera, but we'll keep trying to grab him every now and again. We're going to put it back to the analyst room with Richard and the guys now.
He's finding it hard to adjust to life off camera, is Red Eye, I can tell you that. We nearly swapped places. I'm sure people at home would have preferred that, actually. But we were going to tag each other in for the last day, and I was going to go behind and try and do production. But I don't know what all those buttons do, boys. It's just too much for my primitive brain. Anyway, let's talk about the game. This is what this is your moment, Kev. You're in. I'm tagging you in.
All right.
All right? So SOS versus Hydra. I mean, this could be a final. It isn't. It's a quarter-final. You've been bigging up Hydra and saying, I've been talking to him, he's in the zone, he knows what it takes to beat SOS. Tell us why.
Tell us why. Well, Hydra is... A lot of Zerg players in general seem to be very reactive in their play. Hydra, on the other hand, is a guy that can, especially in Zerg against Protoss, can play a lot of different styles, and he dictates the pace of the game. Sometimes you build like 5 mutas, and you start building Phoenix, and you're like, wait a minute, it was only 5 mutas, you're stuck with 6 Phoenixes. Then comes a big Roach Hydra attack. There's a lot of small stuff that he does that he actually tricks you all the time, and that's not something we're used to from Zergs, especially in Europe. We don't see that a lot. We see a lot of standard play, we see a lot of safe play, and Hydra plays safe but in a different way. He takes a lead of the game, and we don't see that a lot from Zerg players. So I'm very curious to see how SOS deals with it, because I haven't seen a lot of Protoss players deal with it well.
No, definitely. Hydra, when he came to America, he started playing on Europe, and he took European scene by storm. Like, we haven't really seen a Zerg like him. I know, like in ZVT as well, he was just monster moding through everybody. Very fast, very quick. You saw in the preview there when you got to see him play a little bit, just spider hands, man. Like, he's very, very quick.
Is that his nickname?
I don't know. What is it? I mean, his nickname's Hydra, Richard. Like,
but even players
Spider
with
hands.
nicknames have
nicknames. Yeah. I mean, Lazira was the true spider hand guy.
Okay.
Like, when people first saw him, it was crazy.
So, I mean, is Spider Hands going to be enough for him to overcome a titan like SOS?
SOS is like, you know how you talk about Hydra being kind of a tricky player? Like, SOS is a true trickster, man. Like, even though you're a fan of Hydra, you've got to have a little bit of a fanboy in you for SOS as well.
Yeah, SOS is insane with the tricks. He's very good at preparing and very good at playing a lot of different strategies as well.
Yeah, he's kind of like, he can be super cheesy too in a way. Like you saw against Bling in the tournament, he knocked him out. Went for that double gas steal early on.
Against a guy that he should be better against, yeah?
Yeah, against a guy that you should technically win, and he went for that risky, kind of gimmicky play.
Yeah.
And like, when you saw him against CJ Hero, I keep reverting back to this, but man, when you're in a best of 7 for $100,000, and you literally go and put gateways in your opponent's base, not once, but twice in a row, and you actually win with it, like, he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. He doesn't buckle under pressure. In fact, he seems to get better with the pressure.
Well, that's the balls of steel you were talking about right at the top of the show. So look, I've got to get you nailed down to some predictions here, because I think this is going to be a great game. It could go either way. I've got a feeling SOS is probably going to take it.
Hydra 3-1.
Hydra 3-1.
Wow. Yeah, SOS 3-1, man.
Okay, well, look, guys, we'll see if you're right. This is the moment of truth. We're going to get to the game. Don't go anywhere. We're going to throw over our casters now. It is Rotterdam and Maddles. Take it away, boys.
Thank you very much, Richard and the boys. That was some solid banter to start off the final day with.
Not quite classic banter, solid banter, I reckon.
They're getting there. We have a long day of StarCraft ahead of us, 4 best of 5s and 1 best of 7. It should be a really good day of StarCraft. I've looked at the bracket multiple times. I have no idea who's going to win this, honestly. Most of the time, you know, there's like, I have no idea, but then there's 1 or 2 guys that really stand out. I don't have it right now.
Everyone's looking really good. Who's going to even be advancing to the next round will be tough, but we're here first with the map vetoes. And as you can see, Hydra takes out Cactus Valley. Meanwhile, SOS Inferno pulls. First up, Expedition Lost, followed by Vanny Research Station, then Coda, then Echo. Like those map picks?
Yeah, not too surprising. The first map, Expedition Lost, I think is going to be a tricky one for SOS. I don't like it that much against Zerg, but ever since the Swarm host has changed, it's a lot better right now. The old Swarm host was extremely good on it. The new one, obviously, we don't see it all that often. I think Hydra... Yeah, no, I think this is a very solid map pool. Like, I think this is the kind of map pool that we are going to see very often in PvZ best of 5. Either way, the wait is over. We are loaded in to the very first game of Championship Sunday. Shout out to the 2012. And Maddles, take it away.
Up in the top right-hand position, he plays for Jinair. It is, of course, the red Protoss player, sOs.
On the left bottom side of the map, we have the man who was the runner-up of the previous Gfinity and also of WCS Premier League Season 1. He's representing Root Gaming. It is Hydra.
Now, we've got to give a good shout-out to all the great StarCraft 2 fans who've turned up today. Pretty full audience. They seem far more awake than some of us are.
I was like watching SOS a little bit earlier because it's really cool. You stand in front of the booth and you can actually see his first-person view, right?
Yeah.
So I was watching SOS. I was like, I kind of wonder how he warms up for a tournament like this. So he queues up a ladder game as Terran. He's against the Diamond Zerg on Echo. He 11-11s, but at the same time he's watching an SSL match between Stats and Dream. So SOS is literally alt-tabbing every 3 seconds, full screening the stream, then taps back to make an SCV, and he just keeps repeating this throughout the entirety of his game. Completely wrecks this Zerg, and that Zerg is like, you're pretty good, what league are you? And the guy, and SOS is like, huh? It's like, what league? Master, Plat, and SOS is like, GM. The guy's like, oh, okay. You're good. And SOS, like, he didn't really respond because he was all tapped like 70% of the game, which this poor dude didn't even know.
I think that's the sort of thing, if you ever found that out, is where you just have to take a break, sit back, reevaluate your life goals, sort of thing.
It's like losing as SOS, there's no shame, but losing against SOS while he's actually all tapped for the majority of the game, watching a different stream while being on one monitor, that's, you know, that one would sting a little bit. But Maddles, I have to admit, I'm not sure if I would do a whole lot better, even if he is all tapped.
No, he's a monster, and Hydra, he's got to go up against him. Going off with a spawning pool first.
I like this a lot by SOS.
Yep.
Because like gold bases are so popular in this day and age of ZVP, and especially Hydra has been doing it non-stop on Vanny, on Expedition Lost, and SOS is just like, well, I'm not even going to try to block your natural because I know you're going to try to take the gold. There's a good chance Hydra will still take it anyways, but this hatchery could have been 20 seconds in by now, and it's not. That has to be frustrating.
He's dropped it down to the natural base. It's all you can really do in this situation, but great preparation, great knowledge by SOS of what Hydra likes to do, and preventing that gold base is going to be a little bit frustrating. It's a nice boost to your income early game, so shouldn't affect the game overall, but it's just throwing someone off.
This is such a big scout. He checks both extractors and he sees that only single extractor is taken, or Vespian guys I should say. and he sees like, all right, there's no gas, so there's a very good chance that SOS is going to follow this up, one gate, expand, and then throw down 2-3 more gateways and do some serious gateway pressure. Something I personally love to do against Zerg, especially against Zergs that go, you know, 3 hatcheries before they drop a single extractor. And we all know how relentless SOS can be. The Muslim mentioned it multiple times in his pre-game analysis. This guy has got some serious balls.
Third base now being taken by Hydra. Not the gold though, he's taking it down to the right-hand side, but you're bang on the money. We've got the Nexus coming down here from SOS after that gateway, seeing that there's no gas. If you're going for some gateway pressure in here, where would you direct it? Would it be towards the third? Would you try and go through the back ice rocks into the main base?
I think through the middle is always the best if you are convinced that they don't have gas. But we now actually see that an extractor is on the way, and that's why it's often risky, and a lot of Pro players don't like what I just mentioned. Because imagine a world where SOS does throw down 3 more gateways, would warp in 5-6 Stalkers, and this speed from Hydra is actually going to be relatively quick. It's not super quick, it's obviously not going to be a 5 minute, 50 seconds, 6 minute speed, but it's also not like 8 minutes slow. But fortunately for SOS, he's doing something completely different, and it's a very, very quick robotics facility.
Now, immortal pushes can be really good on this map because of that back rock. Why don't you explain to people, why does that work well? What's frustrating about dealing with it?
Well, you can go through the rocks, and then you can force put the guy out in his natural metals.
Well, that was pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Well, we may be getting that coming down from SOS, but at the moment we got Hydra sneaking into the main base with a couple of lings. Tries to pin that Stalker, shouldn't be able to, and with the Mothership core popping out, this should be all safe. But a good bit of scouting. The robotics facility is seen from Hydra. So what's Hydra's response to this? Now he's seen that.
Well, I think the most important thing here is that Hydra's sponsor is only a single assimilator, and that has to make him think. It's like, if you want to go Immortal Sentry all in, shouldn't you be trying to get a little bit of extra gas by now? This doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So instead it's going to be a Warp Prism. It could be a Warp Prism with some like early 3 gateway pressure and then an Immortal as follow-up, or he could also try to load up a a probe? What? What is this guy doing? What? Metals, take it away. Where's the analysis, man?
Where's the analysis? I don't know. I'm going to leave that one to you with this probe just being quickly boosted across the map. But hey, might as well. Goes on a little adventure. Nice quick holiday.
Okay,
but
this is really bizarre to me. I can't wait to see what SOS is up his sleeve because I have not seen this yet. Maybe it's just... Is he just going to drop a pylon here? Is that all? Is he afraid he's going to lose a prison?
It's a very, very interesting one. Mothership core is getting a little bit of fire from these queens. The second one being pulled across will scare it away. Quick check with that Warp Prism, shows it quite early, and this is just all very, very interesting. Meanwhile, back at home, we do, of course, have the Immortals coming out. There's the quick little warp in.
Yeah, he's already forcing out a couple of Zerglings, you know. He's slowing down the economy, and there is a good chance that SOS is not actually... Oh, that Overlord might actually spot this this probe that's warping in that pylon over here, so unfortunately that plan is not going to work out for SOS. But what SOS is doing over here is he's slowing the economy of Hydra down even further than he already did in the start of the game. And Immortal pushes are already very strong, especially if the Zerg has a weak economy. But this is not a classic Immortal Sentry all-in. This is like... This gives me flashbacks of Naniwal's old build, you know, where it was just like 2 Immortals, Warp Prison, and ridiculous amount of Zealots. It can be very hard to deal with. I mean, these Immortals are everything right now in SOS's push. If he loses the Immortals, he loses the game. It's as simple as that.
Quite a few Speedlings going to be trying to counter-attack in here, but the wall-off has been made. We should see a couple of extra pylons thrown down just to be ultra-safe.
This is really nice though by Hydra. I like this a lot. Because you don't want to make defensive weapons right now as a Protoss. SOS has to be very careful. One of its gateways is unpowered as well. There are a lot of roaches over here. SOS is going to have to look at his side of the map, and he's going to have to look on the other side of the map. If he ends up losing one of these Immortals, like I mentioned, this is really bad for SOS. I think Hydra has been doing a really good job so far. He's going to pull the drones. As silly as it sounds, drones are actually quite good against Immortals because they can absorb a couple of shots, and if they can get the surround off, then he will be able to finally pick one off. I must say SOS handled this very well defensively. This is not over yet. I mean, Hydra needs to get closer to those Immortals. If he doesn't get closer, he's not going to be able to win.
Well, he's got the Lings coming in from behind. That's going to prevent the retreat, but there's not that many. They do pick up a lot of distance, but with the Warp Prism picking them up, they get away to safety. Good little bit of pick up and drop micro coming out here from SOS, but for the moment, Hydra has fended this off. Neither player really dealing critical damage, but as you previously said, Hydra's economy has been slowed in order to try and defend.
Hydra's economy is great right now though. Like, it was definitely slowed down before, so it was a very difficult hold. Oh, SOS is going to try to push him out of his main base, and he sort of gets it, but these Immortals are really low on HP. He's forced to pick them up. He's going to end up losing the Sentry as well, because there was no more space in that Warp Prism. those Immortals just had way better health insurance.
Is that only the second assimilator coming down for SOS now?
Yeah, no, he was super committed to this attack. He had no probes behind this as well. He had like 27 workers. Very well done by Hydra. First counter attack. Oh, he ends up losing an Immortal to Zerglings. That's really sloppy as well. Hydra in a phenomenal position.
Yeah, Hydra's very, very comfortable now. He's quickly ramping up a lot more drones. He's got his tech coming through, Lair coming through. And behind this, SOS, 31 probes. He's only just got his second gas. He's not really got anything in the way of tech on its way through, not much in the way of production available. What do you do as SOS in this situation?
I think you just try to macro up a tiny bit and then just go for another all-in, you know, you go full Protoss. If the first all-in fails, you try it again, and then eventually you try it again. But whatever you do, don't go up to 3 bases, because, you know, it's not gonna work anymore. It's just a little too late for that. I must say, I can't emphasize enough on how, oh, he's gonna try it again. Oh no, never mind, he's on the right side. I can't emphasize enough on how important it was that Hydra counterattacked with the links to the natural immediately. Picking off a pylon, unpowering a gateway, forcing the mothership core to stay at home, and forcing a defensive warp in. That is what allowed Hydra to take that fight on the south side of the map. Then he even brought those links back. That's when he started to do some real damage to the Immortals, took out the shields. Overall, just really solid play by our Root Zerg.
Now, Hydra just finished up his Hydralisk 10, and that means he's going to be able to go into a Roach Hydra composition. Got the +1 coming on through, and without any Colossus, without any splash damage, this Gateway Immortal army is going to really struggle if the Hydras do manage to get out of the field.
Suddenly, like, I remember why he brought that probe out to across the map. I was still thinking about that. But obviously you want to be able to have the Warp Prism right there to micro your Immortals all the time, and you don't want to have it in a static mode where...
Oh no, there's some links getting into the natural base though of SOS, and this is going to get very painful. There's nothing really back at home to defend this. A Warping trying to stop the flood coming on through, but that Zealot isn't going to last very long, and this is going to do a tremendous amount of damage. SOS is just pushing through, going to try and take out the third base, but there's so much there to defend. GG, and Hydra takes game number 1 in this best of 5.
Really action-packed game number 1 over here in this first best of 5 of the day. What I was trying to say, like right before that started, because it was a good run by, again with a counter-attack, by the way, by Hydra. It's really important that when you play against Protoss players that are very committed to whatever attack they're doing, whether it's like pseudo 2-base or full 2-base all-in, if you force them to go for defensive warp-ins, you also force them to look on 2 different locations.
Yeah.
And that's really frustrating as a Protoss, because the only thing you want to take care of is that one main army that you're using to run across the map and potentially win the game. So counterattacks are brilliant by Hydra. But I understand why SOS brought that probe now, because he wanted to use the Warp Prism to micro the Immortals all the time, and then he would still be able to warp in while that Prism is flying around, because he would have the pylon there. And he wasn't able to get that pylon there before because the Zerglings had map control. So the idea was really cool, A for effort for SOS, but Hydra with his counterattacks just dismantled that strategy.
So that was Expedition Lost. We've got the rest of the maps up on screen momentarily for you. We're going to be going into Vanny Research Station for our second map, then into Coda and Echo Iron Fortress if needed. But after that first game, Hydra's looking strong, and it's looking good for Harsam at the moment with his 3-1 prediction.
Yeah, Hydra looked very good, and he wasn't even able to take the gold base like he wanted to. Now, our next map is Vanny Research, and as we all know, gold expands are very popular on this map as well. We had a small chat yesterday with our other German Protoss who was here, Showtime, and he said, man, I hate maps with gold bases against Zerg, and he didn't use the word hate, so I'm sure you understand which word he did use, because he played against Hydra as well, and it's just very difficult as Protoss to play up against a Zerg that has such a phenomenal economy right off the get-go. You always feel like you're in a position that you have to make something happen, otherwise you fall too far behind. So I'm very curious to see what SOS's approach is going to be for our second map.
Well, regardless, even with that gold base, it didn't come down in that first map, because SOS took the probe out early. He got a lot of scouting information to see what was coming down, and really all that information was there, but both players did a fantastic job of scouting. Of course, the robotics facility was seen really early. The fact that there was only one assimilator was spotted really early by Hydra, which really allowed him to get up a good defense, because he knew immediately it wasn't going to be a big Immortal Sentry player or anything like that, as you mentioned. And just again, Hydra, we really got to touch on just how important that counterattack was. As you said time and time again, it's really caused a lot of problems for SOS.
Yeah, I love that you bring up that scout, because that scout was so important for multiple reasons. That also forced Hydra, or not really forced him, but he made the correct decision to drop a Roach Warren quicker than he normally would. Otherwise, 2 Immortals and a bunch of Zealots, like with just Zerglings, you're going to have a very hard time against it already. He needed a couple of Roaches to deal with those Zealots, because just Zerglings alone are not going to cut it. So that was a magnificent scout for Hydra early on.
Well, we are into map number 2 now, and spawning up to the north position of Vanny Research Station, we have got the red Protoss player. He represents Jin Air, currently down 1 game. It's SOS.
And on the south side of Vani Research Station, we have our runner-up of Gfinity, and he's doing something really cheeky over here on Vani Research. He's representing Root Gaming. It is Hydra. And look at this, Medals.
Going down for a very, very early spawning pool.
That was an 8 or 7 pool. I believe it was an 8 pool.
I think it was 8 pool, but don't quote me on it. And this is going to be quite aggressive here. Maybe thinking that SOS could throw out some sneaky shenanigans, wanting to be a little bit safe from anything like that.
Now, I think he's hoping that SOS is just going to go Nexus first into Gate. And if SOS doesn't scout this in time, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He has his pilot near the ramp already, but he's still chrono boosting out probes, so he will most likely go Nexus first. Now, I don't think this is 100% over, especially not if he would go Nexus into Forge, because then he can still cancel his Nexus, just go for a temporary full wall off on the ramp and drop a cannon behind it. But, I mean, these Zerglings are going to show up very early, and SOS needs to scout this. Like, it's very important that SOS has at least a probe going across the map, so he can drop the right buildings as soon as possible, Gateway, Forge, preferably in the other order, and cancel this Nexus. If he doesn't cancel this Nexus, I don't think he will ever be able to hold this. Somebody in chat just wrote, this is a best of 5. Yes, we are playing best of 5s all the way to the final, where we have a best of 7 to close things out.
I think that's actually wrong on Liquipedia at the moment, so anyone just tuning in, it is, of course, best of 5s. So. Quick little move up here. The probe spots these links. What's your response now as SOS?
Cancel the Nexus, and that's exactly what he does immediately. Then maybe drop a Forge, and that's exactly what he does as well. Is he doing it at the ramp though? I think he is doing it at the ramp, right?
Yep.
Okay, what I'm worried about right now is that there is too much surface area to attack this Forge. Forges do not get HP as quick as Gateways do. That's why I mentioned it. If his build would have been the other way around, Nexus into Forge, the Forge would have been done by now. But since it's... Well, actually, I'm very surprised that Hydra is working on the Gateway. I guess there is slightly more surface area to work with, but the Forge I think is the most important building. Anyway, I'm very curious to see how this one plays out. It is doable for SOS, but it won't be easy.
We do have more Lings coming in behind this. Zergling speed also finishing up. SOS really in disaster control mode right now, chucking down more buildings, trying to prevent these Lings from getting any closer. There is a cannon on the way, but it's quite a long way from finishing.
Yeah, there is one Zergling that's able to tap on it immediately as well. So far, this is such a cute little concave of buildings that SOS got going for himself. If he's able to get these units out one more time, which he is, man, that cannon is actually going to finish up. Like I said, he's going to be able to hold this, but it won't be easy. But that was really optimistic thinking by me. It's still a lot of Zerglings, but I actually think that SOS is doing it so far. What a phenomenal... No, just one more pilot. No, he has to pull the probes immediately. Just make sure... Okay, this is kind of bad. Oh, he has 2 Forges right now. No!
Yep. GG, Hydra takes game number 2 with that cheeky early pull, and...
He was so close!
So close.
So close. One more building, and I think that cannon would have been able to take care of all those Zerglings. Look at that cheeky smile from Hydra. Oh man, one more building. If one more building would have gone down, I actually think that cannon would have been able to do some serious work. If you guys wonder in the end, why did SOS step out? That's because he didn't have a gateway and there were 6 to 7 links in his base. And, you know, even though eventually he may have been able to buy the time to get a gateway out and get a zealot out, but not before he would be forced to pull probes to fight against the Zerglings like 27 times in the next 2 minutes, and he would just fall way too far behind economically. Man, that must be a really frustrating game for SOS.
It looks on his face, looking just a bit irritated by that. I would be, sitting there and having that awkward situation. But we are going to be going into Coda for game number 3, and another new map. Do you like it?
Yes, Coda. I think Coda is a great map, especially to watch games on. To play on, I kind of struggle on it, but hey, I struggle on most maps, so that's not very surprising. But Coda is going to be one of the most popular maps in this current map pool that we have, that's for sure. I kind of like Echo as well, but it seems like some Terrans are not very big fan of Echo. But Coda is one of these maps that's going to be very universally accepted, and it's going to be the new Overgrowth, man. It's like, you don't veto Coda, I don't veto Coda. Let's just always play on Coda. 3 match points for Hydra. So far, we have to give a shout out to Harsemis' prediction. He's been backing Hydra since day 1, and Hydra is indeed looking very good so far.
Hydra didn't have the smoothest start. He did go into the loser bracket of his group, if memory serves correctly, but looking really strong here. It's EVZ. It's always irritating, but yeah, this is definitely looking good for the Root player at the moment. And of course, if you do make it through into that round of 4, you severely knock up the number of dollars you're making and the number of WCS points. And of course, what everyone wants is that trophy at the end of it, getting that top spot. And after the last Gfinity Spring Masters, Hydra came so close to it.
Yeah, and talking about WCS points as well, I mean, Hydra, of course, had a great run in WCS Premier League Season 1. He's totally on track to make it to BlizzCon. That would be the first time in Hydra's career. sOs last year came incredibly close to having a shot to defend his title. He was just like a couple 100 points short, and he actually could have gone to that final stop of the year, which I think was a DreamHack event back then.
Was it Stockholm?
No, yeah, I think so, and I think he could have gone there, maybe on his own money, and all he had to do was like place top 16, which for sOs was not, you know, an unreasonable feat, and he would have actually had enough points to go to BlizzCon. But he was just on that moment, he's like, nah, you know what, I should have just done it in the GSL. I feel like I failed. I want to take a break. I'm not even interested in going anymore. But a tournament like this, you know, getting a couple 100 points here at the Gfinity Championship, that really helps you in the rankings.
Well, we are into map number 3 now, and it's going to be Coda and spawning to the lower right-hand position. Playing for Jin, it is the Red Protoss sOs.
And on the left top side of the map, we have the man who's representing Root Gaming. He's up 2-0 already, and it's what feels like a best of 5 that has just started. It's Hydra.
Game 2 very, very quick and very smoothly done. And what do you reckon we're going to be seeing out of these two on Coda after the first 2 maps?
I'm not sure if sOs is the type of play that gets shaken up by the way that this series unfolds. I mean, let's not forget that this guy probably has a ridiculous bank account, since he did win $200,000 tournaments. But most of the time when Protoss players lose 2 games that quickly in a best of 5, you see them make inconvenient, or how do you say that, like uncomfortable decisions. Yeah, or let's say like they are afraid to think out of the box. They're afraid to take some risks in their play because they don't want to be that guy that goes down 0-3. So they will not do certain things they may actually do if they would have been up 2-0 or if it would have been a 1-1 series. But then again, this is sOs. He's so experienced that I don't think it should shake him up all that much. I think he's just going to play solid, safe, straight up. He's not panicking. He's still going Nexus first, by the way, despite the fact that Hydra just went for a very early pull on the map where he normally always expands towards the gold.
Well, in this game, we are just getting both of them go for a quick expansion, so nothing really unexpected there. Is Hydra actually going to go hatch pool? I think he's going to. That's...
He's really switching. Okay, so sOs is getting a... Oh, sOs could still cannon rush this, by the way. This is something that Jim, shout out to our Chinese Protoss player, has done quite often in the past. Despite the fact that you're going Nexus first, if you scout that your opponent is going to go double hatch before pool, like this was very popular on Deathwing. Protoss players would go Nexus first, followed up by a Forge, and it's like, hey, if my opponent goes double hatch before pool, which right now sOs is confirmed, you can still cannon rush this if you truly want to. But he also wiped in a gateway already, so I have the feeling he doesn't want to do it.
No, there's a drone being pulled already, so he's aware of that. The overlord position was actually really nice, but Pylon comes down! This is not fun.
sOs is like, hey man, you just cheesed me in the last game. Do you know who I am? I cheese for a living, Hydra.
Those drones, they're trying their best, but...
this cannon is going to go up.
So do you just... Is this a guaranteed cancel at third base now?
Yes.
So,
unless Hydra is very stubborn, unless it's finished, but I just can't imagine. Well, I really like the minimal investment over here by sOs as well. I can't believe he just cancelled that pylon, dropped a new pylon, and even got the probe out. He makes it look so easy, but you know what happens when a regular Joe like you and I does that, Metals? Our probe gets stuck, or we mess up the cannon rush. He could even potentially cancel that cannon if he really wants to. That'd be hilarious. Does he have vision of that? sOs? Yeah.
Yeah, sOs knows that it's not down, but he's going to let it finish up. He'll delay it if it does come down later. But for the moment, that's really frustrating for Hydra because his spawning pool has been massively delayed because of the fact that he went hatch into that pool. He was going for it early on. It is finished up now, of course, but very, very nice stuff by sOs. You remember, started all this with a Nexus first, so it wasn't like he went for a Forge first to try and get this aggression down.
Nope.
And
this is a phenomenal start for sOs. I think it's the most important thing right there is what you said. This was a Nexus first into cannon rush. This is not a one-base Protoss that's throwing down a bunch of cannons desperately and barely gets a cancel on one hatchery, but you look at the state of the game and you're like, well, this is not even that great for the Protoss. Like, this was pretty damn solid for sOs. That cannon is still there, Hydra. He has quite a few Zerglings. I think this probe is going to try to drop the pylon one more time, or just the second cannon, whatever. And I think actually there's a very good chance that this hatch might fall again.
And that's so frustrating for Hydra. He's going to have to cancel it.
Yeah.
I don't see any way he can keep that now. It's too low.
There are Zerglings and Queens, but there's barely any surface area for this one. No, Hydra, you can't keep this hatchery alive. Acceptance, man. I think he's just waiting right now, and he wants sOs to finish up those buildings. So at least sOs has made a reasonable investment as well. Like, Hydra is just waiting for that second cannon to finish, and then he will cancel.
We're on the money. There we go. So a bit more of investment there. That's an extra 250 minerals placed down by SOS, but
also it's another cancel though.
Yeah, it's another cancel.
And it's a queen that was just walking around, not injecting, not spreading creep. Even though he did, of course, have an additional queen. But still, I think overall that was still solid for SOS. And let's not forget, now he has much more of a safety point over there. Like 2 cannons and a bunch of pylons. There's a very good chance. Look at the amount of chrono boost he's spending on the cybernetics core. Then he's going to follow this up with a cheeky 6-7 gate +1. This is actually a build, Metals, I have more experience with than I'm willing to admit over here.
Yeah, this +1 big gateway push, it's going to be so tough because if you look at what Hydra's got in order to defend this, he's only just really throwing down his gases now. And
I love this, man. This is like watching one of my own ladder games. Even though my cannon rushes are way worse, but it's just as dirty.
So, gateway's coming on down now, just finishing up. The +1 being chrono boosted through as well. We do have the Roach Warren and also the Lair coming through from Hydra. Who's seen this? He should be aware with the Forge obviously whirring away
there.
there.
He has to start producing roaches like ASAP, because let's not forget, SOS is going to wipe in these units immediately on the other side of the map. At least that's what I think is going to happen. But he has to be a little bit careful as well, because he doesn't have cannons in the natural, right? He has cannons at the turret base, and that's great, but there is still only one location that Hydra has to defend. And it would have been a lot worse for Hydra if these cannons were actually in the natural, because then he has units streaming in from all directions. Now all units would come from the same direction, and I'm not actually sure if SOS wants to go all out with this. He just kind of revealed his hand already by sending in a couple of Zealots. Is he just gonna 7-gate and march across the map, or what are you gonna do, SOS?
Well, he's already started marching across the map, so do you reckon he's just trying to show a couple of them to say, oh, it's no big threat, you can go back to droning now, which there is a drone in production, or...
I'm a little bit confused actually, because right now he doesn't have a pylon in the middle map either, so where is SOS going to warp in? Because the spine crawl is going up over there. I think that SOS might be forced to expand again, but well, he has to go quick. Where is he warping in the Stalkers? It's not on the top side of the map, is it?
I know they're back at home.
Well, I'm very confused about how SOS has handled this so far. I don't think he should have sent in those 3 Zealots, because I feel like it just kind of made the alarm bells go off for Hydra. Hydra has his Hydralist then on the way. He has Spine Crawlers. Spine Crawlers are phenomenal against this gateway army of SOS. One Stalker is out of position, but he will land a couple of force fields, so he gets 3-4 roaches over here immediately, but I'm still very worried for SOS. I kind of like Hydra's position.
Yeah, Hydra had so much time to prepare. The second he saw those first 2 Zealots, he chucked down the 3 Spine Crawlers, which, as you said, are great against this kind of push. It's allowed him to get out a lot of roaches. The Hydra den's finished as well now. Drones being pulled, a couple of those spines being repositioned, trying to get a bit more surface area on this army from SOS, who's feeling okay at the moment. He's got some good force fields down.
Okay, yeah, I do like that. He's avoiding the spines, and he got a couple of force fields down. Now he's running to his safety ground where he has those cannons. The force fields are really good. That's what SOS is going to need to take care of it. He has to take care of these roaches that are on the left side, and he's actually doing a pretty damn good job so far. Drop the time warp, has Guardian Shield activated as well, and that roach count is definitely dwindling right now. That was very well done by SOS, because there's no way he was going to kill those spines, and he knew that, so he just avoided them. Very smart play.
Moving up now into the natural base. The roach count is quite low, but there's quite a few coming through in production here. The Spine Crawlers trying to reposition, and where they are now is probably the best. It's not really avoidable to engage into them, and that's why we see SOS pull away, wait for another wave of warpins. But all in all, the army supply is relatively similar, but roaches aren't that efficient.
Good job. Really good job. Like getting 4 roaches over there, that's just perfect, man. Like, he's not losing a single gateway unit over there, and he just got 4 roaches for nothing. And Hydra's economy was great. He was on 55 drones, but he lost 10 drones in that very first engagement. So right now, they're kind of on an even economy. Now, never underestimate roaches on creep against gateway units that don't really have any upgrades other than +1. But I'm talking about the serious upgrades, blink or charge. So roaches can definitely hold their ground. But
the roaches have +1 as well, though.
Yeah.
So upgrades are level overall. So this is going to be pretty tough. The Hydra Den, did it actually finish in the end?
Yeah, unless he cancelled it. I'm pretty damn sure it finished.
Yeah, it did finish up. So he's got the option to go into Hydras, which again against gateway units is going to be really, really strong if Hydra's able to get that down. SOS, though, this is still quite a scary army. We've seen him being very efficient with those force fields, taking favorable engagements.
This is really sick. He just did a ring around the rosy. Now he shows up in the middle of the map and he's like, haha, Spike Crawler's out of position, son. I really like this by SOS. He's doing some cute tricks, but still, this roach count is quite high, Metals.
It is 74 to 50-odd army supply. Spine's not able to get into this fight. The force field's really, really good, but look at that concave. Roaches from all angles just slowly chipping away, and the supply for SOS is plummeting.
Yeah, roaches on creep are pretty damn good against gateway units. The sentries are very exposed as well. Is Hydra actually going to be able to clean up this gateway army and with that win the game? Well, it's not over just yet. SOS is going to fall back off creep. This is a different battle, of course. A little bit of a misclick there. The Stalkers are super exposed. Seems like SOS is going to tap out. GG. Hydra wins the first quarterfinals over here on Sunday. Very convincingly, 3-0 over SOS.
Looking very happy with himself there in the booth. And who can blame him? A 3-0.
Yeah.
Not even his biggest fan, Harston, predicted that.
No crap, man. 3-0 over SOS. I think there were a lot of people who were probably thinking like, well, there's a good chance Hydra takes this. Then there are always like the diehard Pro League fans who say like, haha, Hydra has no shot, man. He's living in the US. There's no way he's going to stand a chance against someone who's still living in Korea. You know, true Casper Pro Tools that has that practice every single day. But 3-0, wow.
Very, very impressive stuff. And it was 3 very different styles coming out from Hydra. If you look at game number 1 to game 2 to game 3, he threw everything out. And it's very difficult to prepare for a player like that who's just got so many cards in their hand.
Yeah, I don't think this is a series where you can take anything away from Hydra's victory either. Of course, game number 2, you know, he got a little bit fortunate with the build order there. That would have just been a gateway expand or a gateway into something else. And it was even such a close moment, like where SOS was almost able to hold. And maybe if SOS wins that second game, it's 1-1 and we are looking at a different series. But game number 1, it played out the way that SOS wanted. SOS prevented him from taking the gold. Then SOS went with that Power Prism, went with those Immortals. Like that was SOS's ID. And Hydra, he just played like a good Zerg. He just defended and won. And game number 3 is pretty much the exact same thing. Hydra is just trying to expand. SOS is trying to dictate the pace of the game by cannon rushing, avoiding stuff to go down, cannon rushing again, and then following it up with an attack that he wanted to make, not that he was forced into, because Hydra did something ridiculous. Like, no, Hydra played very solid, very straight up, and definitely deserved to win this series.
Yeah, 3-0. It's a nice confidence boost going into the round of 4, into the quarterfinals.
Man, I'd be so confident at 3-0 SOS.
Exactly. You're just going to be sitting there like, what's going to stop you now?
Confident enough to walk through the streets here of Chelsea with a Manchester United jersey on.
I'm not quite sure you can be that confident. We're only a couple of hundred yards from the Chelsea home grounds. But we'll find out what the analyst desk thinks of that game and just how happy Harston is.
Well, gobsmacked, I think, would be one word for it. Absolute monstrous performance from Hydra. He murked SOS there.
Murked him, mate, murked him.
Murked it. Absolutely, destroyed him. Amazing series.
Well, where do we start dissecting that, guys? Because, I mean...
Well, let's start at game 1, yeah?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's a good idea. Kev,
I mean...
Nice one. Banter.
Banter, mate.
A 3-0, though, like, I mean, you've been in Hydra's court for quite a while, but you only thought it was going to be 3-1. You thought it was going to be pretty hard fought as well, I bet. Like, I don't think anybody expected Hydra to win so convincingly. Like, everything that SOS threw at him, he just shut it down so easily. Like, it looked effortless for Hydra.
Yeah, like, game 1, the start was really bad for Hydra. I think this was one of the worst starts you can get. SOS opened with 13 gate, scouted to the gold, and basically blocked the gold because Hydra went pool first and then hatch on the gold. That didn't work out. So Hydra had a very late hatchery at home, and SOS had a well-timed Nexus himself. He followed up with a gate Immortal all-win with just 2 gas, 1 fake gas. So he basically had a perfect setup to win that game, and Hydra was like, well, I've seen this before. I know how to beat it, and it was like, out of the game. It wasn't really much to it. And
well, I can show you how he actually closed out game 1 here after that bad start you're talking about. And there you go. Talk us through what's going on.
Yeah, if you look at the work account at the bottom, SOS is mad all in with this. He's got lings around the map. He goes and attacks the front when the army... Like, SOS wants to be in Hydra's face now. Like, the longer this game goes on, the worse it gets for him. So he wants to be dealing damage ASAP. And Hydra is buying time. He's being annoying at the front gate of SOS. So he's going to be trying to pile down that wall and get lings inside the base. So SOS is forced to warp in units at home because he doesn't have a cannon there. And his mothership core's over here and out and about. Hydra keeps picking off units around the map, just delaying. Like, that's the aim of the game for him. But if you look at the supply now, 120 against 80, lings are in the base now. It's just a really, really terrible situation to be in for SOS, and it just goes downhill from here.
Yeah, and SOS, the thing that he wants to do, he wants to hit as sharp as possible. When there's lings running around, you're not too sure what your opponent has. He could be going for mass roach. If the other guy's going mass roach, you can take it a bit slower. But if you got other guys stacking to something else, let's say Hydra or maybe even Infest, you want to hit as sharp as possible. And Hydra did a bit of both. He showed some roaches while slowly tacking to Hydra. So he was safe all the time, but he delayed even until the Hydras were out. And there was just no chance for SOS to hold at all.
Yeah, I mean, just again, I'm really kind of stunned because after taking that first game, you think, okay, well, that's fair enough, that can happen. SOS is going to switch it up, and then it was kind of like a repeat of what happened again. Just like it just seemed that Hydra just got into a position where unassailable.
Hydra looked incredibly solid. You know, we've been seeing him for a while now. Like, he wins most of the Gfinity Cups that we have. He was a finalist last Gfinity just a month ago, and he's not slowing down. Even in WCS that we had, like the foreign WCS, he made it to the final, and against Polt, I think he only lost because he got nervous or something. Like, everybody looked at him as the clear favourite for that, and yeah, he's not slowing down whatsoever.
Yeah, it seems like he's in a really good flow right now. I think 1 week ago he beat Parting 4-3 in an online cup. That's quite impressive, because just before that he lost a few times to Parting in a row. So now it seems like he's really on top of his game, and I'm very curious who will be able to stop him. He himself said, well, I think SOS is going to be the hardest, and he just 3-0'd SOS. So if that's going to be the hardest, then it's going to probably ask if the series is going to be outplayed and like 5-0 the other guy or something.
Yeah, I mean, like after that, it's Jaedong or Patience, and honestly, they're both probably easier and less scary, at least, than SOS. So.
Well, let's see what the man himself's got to say about it. We're over with Banksy, who has got the man Hydra. Take it away. Let's see what Hydra's got to say.
Okay, we are on. The mic is ready. That was my fault. How bad is that? Look at that Hydra. We start off in such a great fashion. I was all like, yes, came in with a 3-0, and then we don't have the microphone on. Rookie mistake. We won't let that happen again. I'll hang my head in shame. But Hydra, for game one, talk me through it a little bit. What was going through your mind for that? Because obviously SOS, he's a very competent opponent. Like, did you just kind of have it all planned out already?
Yeah. What was the first map? I forgot.
First map was... what did you have first map? Let's have a look. Expedition Lost. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
You've won, so it's fine.
Yeah, on Expedition. Yeah, I think Expedition is good for Jerk, so I tried to save field. So yeah, when he denied my second base, I tried to another build. So when I searched his robotics bay, yeah, I thought that game was mine. Yeah.
Now game two, obviously landing it with an 8 pull. Were you just confident of exactly what SS was going to do? Because no matter what happened, he was just trying to fire down the buildings, and well, he couldn't get any gateways down, so he was in trouble from the start. Did you just think, oh, this could be easy?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna Nexus first for sure, because Bonnie is very good for Nexus first, and then easy war and easy defense. So yeah, I tried to counter-attack them. Yeah.
Now 3-0 against someone like SOS, very, very good. Last time we saw you, you came second place. Do you feel confident right now this is going to be your victory now? You're going to go all the way for the grand final in the first place?
Yeah, I thought this round of 8 was going to be hardest matchup in this tournament. But yeah, I won very easier than my thought. So yeah, it's going to be my tournament.
So Hydra thinks it's his tournament. Best of luck as you go through the rest of it. We're going to send it back to the analyst desk now, and I won't forget to turn on my mic for the rest of the interviews.
Thanks a lot for that, James. Boys, just a moment of silence for Banks' career. Yeah, we won't be hiring him again. No, I'm kidding. Can happen to anyone, James. I had a mic disappear on my shirt the other day. It's all good. But anyway, look, let's talk about the tournament. This throws it wide open now, because, I think we all had SOS penciled in as the favourite. Favourite just got battered. Well, except you, maybe. All right, except you. The Hydra fan over, he's going to be so smug. He's going to be unbearable at the bar. But, well, we'll bring up the knockout bracket, actually, and we can maybe talk about how this, kind of throws it up. Now, I understand as well that Jaedong is beating Patience at the moment. He's 2-1 up against Patience.
Okay, I did think that matchup was going to be pretty close, actually. Like, Patience definitely on the rise, and Jaedong, yeah, you don't really know where he's at, especially in matchups that aren't ZVZ. I mean, it's ZVT, especially with the Swarm Host nerf. Like, he didn't really know what to do even when the Swarm Hosts were good against Terran. And the fact that he got nerfed against Protoss, I don't really know how his matchup was against Protoss in the first place, but...
He wasn't really a Swarm Host.
No, so it hasn't really affected him? Okay.
So I mean, can Hydra go all the way? I mean, realistically, now does he become the favourite? Like Highlander, you know, there can be only one.
Like, I love that movie. But
everyone does.
I mean, going up against either Patience or Jaedong, I think he prefer Patience, to be honest. Like, ZVZ can be a bit tricky. We saw that Jaedong was whipping out a few cheeses, you know, so I think Jaedong would definitely be the scarier opponent there. But Hydra now, beating SOS so flawlessly, I've got a new favourite for the tournament, I think, now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Hydra, and everyone's been telling me, the other players, been telling me that Solar's been really, really good lately. Once again, regained his rank 1 Grandmaster on Korea. And
Solar?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's definitely a guy to look out for as well. Definitely don't underestimate him. He beat Hydra earlier.
Well, look,
2-1, yeah.
I think we can safely say this tournament far from done, and things just got interesting. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I think you're going to be casting the next game, so we'll say goodbye to you. Are you? Are you here all day?
I'm here all day up until.
Really? We get to keep you.
You get to keep me.
This is awesome, right? Banter squad. We can raise the banter levels now. Yeah. This is good. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to start talking about the next game, Bunny versus True. We'll see you then.